Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20, and welcome to episode 17 of Direwolf20's Space Engineers series. I'm working on my assembly room that we worked on last episode. So, last episode we left off, and there's a ship that I need to go get, but real quick I'm throwing together my assembly room, and I was going to do some of this off camera, but I wanted to make sure to show you guys, because assemblers can be tricky sometimes, and I wanted you to make sure you saw everything I did so that you'd kind of be understanding of why I'm doing certain things the way I am. Because trust me, it's a pretty good thing to understand. Looks like I ran out of stuff. Look at me, running out of resources. Okay, cool. Let's see what we might be short on. Probably I'm going to say like small tubes or something like that. Or construction components, that's usually something along those lines. What am I out of? Ooh. You dock up for me, would you? Oh, I can't wait, by the way, until I can do this properly. Yeah, autopilot. My whole drone system is predicated on autopilot, and it's like still a little bit buggy. A couple people, by the way, have posted comments saying like I'm doing certain things wrong with autopilot, but I mean, I'm kind of am, I'm kind of not. There's probably better ways to do what I'm doing, but oh, you know what? I named it cargo, didn't I? Yeah. Let's just make sure our cargo container here has all the good stuff. Nice. There's definitely a bug with autopilot. Some people are saying that I should put like my remote control more in the center of my ship. That might help with some aspects of the autopilot issues that I'm having, but there's other aspects that are definitely like just a straight up autopilot is being very weird. Oh good, our assemblers should now be all functional again. Nice. So let's take a look at our new assembly room and see what kind of goodies I got in there. Whoosh, I have to get a hallway going here. I might do something a little different with that, we'll see. Yoink. So you can see I labeled my assemblers, right? So I've got this guy here, assembler main, okay? He's gonna be the one, and I made sure it's pretty much the first assembly you place in the world is the one that is typically the first one listed here. It's really hard to change this order. So make sure when you place things, you might have noticed that I actually wound up moving all these things over here. So it's like you can't change it as far as I know, short of like rearranging the way your assemblers are placed. So just be a little bit conscious of where you place your assembler and when. But we're gonna take this off of the showing up on HUD. You go off in cooperative mode, show on HUD off cooperative mode, show on HUD off cooperative mode, show on HUD off cooperative mode. You get the gist. So that way, if we were to take a look in assembler main here, assembler co-op 1 through 6 or 5, whatever it is, should have co-op mode enabled. Nice, right? So I should be able to come in here and request something like, something we always need a lot of and probably don't have any problem making, like 1,000 steel plates. So this thing should very quickly produce the 1,000 steel plates for me. We've already produced over 100. Just to give you a little indication, right? Like boom, boom, all these guys are cooperating. So we've literally got 5 assemblers cooperating with the main one. So that means that it runs 5 times faster. Plus we have those productivity upgrades, that helps too. So we've already knocked out 400 of them. We're almost halfway done. Not bad, right? So that's pretty awesome. So we're gonna let those cook. I haven't renamed all these guys yet. I need to do that, and I'll probably just do it off camera, I don't know, like right now? That sound like a good time? Yeah. Let me go do that, and then I'm going to get these renamed. These are all the assemblers that will be responsible for the 12 different types of items that I want to auto-craft. And I do have room for 6 more upgrades in this room, so 6 more assemblers. If I wanted to do more auto-crafting, I would probably put those on top along there. So this line of 6 assemblers will be responsible for manual crafting. These 12 will be auto-crafting with the potential to do 6 more. Alright guys, let's see what we might be in for. My private sale is just sitting out here. I never really did anything with it. I checked it out though. Let's see what's on board. So here we go. We're at the private sale. So basically, like I said last episode, I ground up a few of the components on there and we're able to redo them so that I have control of some parts of the ship. See, this one, for example, still access denied. But that's okay. We don't actually need to go in there. I think I have access to actually pilot it now. So you can see some things are access denied, some things I have control of, like the control station and a couple other things that I've ground down and then re-welded up, which means they're basically mine now. But there's nothing too exciting in here, unfortunately. I was hoping for some better loots inside the cargo container. There's 9 metal grids and 16 solar cells. So not a giant payday by any stretch. Yeah, a little bit boring actually. But I was thinking about just like flying it back to my base and then grinding it down just for components, because there's probably at least a bunch of stuff here, like a bunch of thruster components and stuff that I could easily take. So let me do this. Let me GPS waypoint. I'm going to delete this Direwolf one. I'm just going to create another one. Delete new from current position. There we go, Direwolf 1. This is the destination, obviously, or the location of my ship here, my combat ship. He doesn't have a remote control on him, otherwise I would tell him to remote control his way back. But I'm going to... Now this ship only has a few thrusters. It only has like 2 or 3. So instead of like fixing it, I'm just going to fly it back and then grind it down. So that should be fine. So I'll see you back at the base in a minute here. And then what I want to work on in today's episode, maybe get a room for refining, maybe get a room for power. There's a couple things I'd like to improve on my base. And then once we've got some of that, we can start looking at maybe working on a larger ship design. I've gotten a couple drones and a couple smaller ships, but really getting to the point where I want to have more and more resources, so a large ship might be a good idea. So any one of those 3 things might be in my future for today's episode and the next couple. So I had a little bit of a dire derp, just a small one, off camera. I have guns on my station that shoot anything that's hostile. Well, guess what? That ship isn't entirely not hostile yet. So as I flew it close to the base, I noticed the base shooting at me, which was not ideal. So just turned off my Gatling guns. I can fly up there now and get it. Come on, guys, let's go. There we go. Private sale. You're coming back with me to the base so I can grind you up. Now, I do have ideas on how to build like a bit of a, there it is, room for, man, this ship is a mess. I did not do a very great job of taking it over. Usually when the ship is half dead, you didn't do a good job. If it's at least a little bit alive. But it's a little bit hard, as you guys noticed last episode, to really focus on things like that and actually do a good job taking stuff out, like precision fire and whatnot. Not easy, not even a little bit. So anyway, one thing we're probably going to want to do is just get this guy somewhat close. Remember, because I don't have thrusters on the front of my ship, I won't be able to slow down. So the best way to manage that is by just spinning your ship around and then facing the direction that you're traveling, kind of deal. Notice my speed in the bottom right? So you want to kind of get it to the point where that speed drops down to 0. So just by looking around in different directions, at some point your inertial dampeners will kick in and slow you down. It doesn't look terrible. Yeah, that's good enough. Let's go get our grinder. Basic grinder. Remote control, go. Now I'm pretty sure he's probably mostly empty. Yeah, his grinder cargo is almost completely empty. Private sales only about 100 meters away. So let's go grind some stuff up. And we'll be back in a few minutes. And of course, one thing to note is that because this ship doesn't have thrusters on all sides, as I bump into it with my grinders, which obviously is going to happen a bit, it knocks the ship, and then the ship starts drifting, and it makes it very hard to grind. So just FYI, that's happening. We'll see how well we can do with it. I may not get all the components out of here, but hey, at least I got some stuff. Alright guys, looks like we got a lot of good resources off that thing. So our arc furnace is burning down some of like the scrap metal that came off of it, but otherwise we did rather well. Nice. So I definitely want to go and fight a couple other ships in the future. I might want to have a better combat ship. The one I have, not terrible, but maybe once I get into some larger ships, that might be a little bit more of an interesting adventure for us. For now, let's take a look at where we're at. So we've got a base for the most part. I haven't completely finalized all my pathways here that I would like. I haven't figured out exactly how I want that to work out, but basically I have something-ish. And let's see. I wonder if... Yeah. We've got oxygen. I want to test... There was an update that might have fixed oxygen, so I wouldn't mind testing that out. Let's see. What do we got in here that's oxygen-related? Control panel. Oxygen tank. What if we were to check this? So the air vent is currently set to depressurize, which is fine because, as we'll see, the room is not pressurized at the moment. I have some doors open in my base, but I wouldn't mind turning on my oxygen tank. Oh, it's 100% filled. Nice. That's cool. So what I'd like to try is oxygen generator 2. We're going to toggle you off. And then let's get all our doors. All the interior doors, that is. And we're going to close them. And that should pressurize the room, in theory. Yes. Cool. Now if we go to our air vent and depressurize off, what we should see happening, if everything's correct here, is the air vent will start to pressurize and the oxygen tanks will start to empty. Nice. So it looks like the bug with oxygen tanks has been fixed, which is really cool. Now we can also depressurize, which means it should take the oxygen out of the room and fill up the oxygen tanks. Let's see if that's the case. It's considering it. Maybe, maybe not. Let's go inside and see what's up. So this area is not pressurized. That might be a little bit of a problem, but that's okay. We'll just lose a little bit of oxygen here. Dun dun dun. Yeah, no. Oxygen craziness. So obviously we lost oxygen just because we opened doors, but it looks like storing oxygen in tanks might be a little bit funny still from the vents. What if I turn the oxygen generator back on? Will that fill up the tank? 96.83. .27. Okay, so that's cool. So at least it's storing oxygen. I might, just because it's being so funny still, turn it off for now. And we'll get the vent depressurize off. So now that should fill this room with oxygen. And once the oxygen level rate's high, I should be able to take off my helmet, and we're good. Nice. We might want to get my helmet back on for a moment, because now it's got to repressurize like the whole base. But that's okay. Might want to have some oxygen vents in other rooms, but I don't know if I want to work on that this episode or not. I'd rather continue to expand my base, and that might be cool. One thing I might definitely want to do, because we're going to be having doors open and such for a little bit, let's set this guy to depressurize. So you can see room pressure not pressurized. Even if it does pressurize, it won't fill the room with oxygen. And one thing I need to do is grab my blocks builder and get this door built. So when I placed this the other day, I must have forgot to weld it. Cool. Much better. Alright, back in a moment. I want to consider what I want to do about these hallways and a couple other things, and then where to place the next room for my base. Alright guys, we're back. I started welding up this area here, and everything looks pretty good. Let's get over here and get this guy welded. It does seem like... Oh man, what is up with my power usage right now? I'm having a little trouble flying, but that's okay. Also feels like I'm welding a little bit slowly. I wonder if I did just bump into a wall. Hopefully I didn't knock another welder off. Yeah, see, I'm not welding from the right side of my ship. That might not be good. But it might be an interesting thing to show you guys, a little game plan that I came up with here. I want to build... Yeah, you can weld that up if you want. Sure, why not? The following. Ah. Oh. Well, that's not good. I think I just broke something else. Oops. I'm not a very good pilot, in case you couldn't tell. Let's see what's going on in there. What did I break? Oh yeah, I definitely broke a couple things off here. Oh, and I'm a little bit low. Room builder. How about you go down a little bit? That might be nice. Oh yeah, look how much damage there is. That's not good. Bad, Direwolf. Bad. What were you doing? Man, I really broke this thing, didn't I? There's pipes missing. No wonder my navigation was a little bit weak. I definitely broke stuff. Oh look, this thing's broken over here in the corner. Alright, I have an idea. Hold your horses. First, let's tell our platform to welders on. Welders off. That should have fixed all the bent pieces of armor. So you might have noticed when I went through here before, some of these armor pieces were bent. That was not a good time. The next thing I wouldn't mind going with now... Where might I be able to put this? I definitely want to insert this thing somewhere where it won't be a problem, but I wouldn't mind building a projector. Check this idea out. In theory, I'm going to place him right there, and he shouldn't be in too much of anybody's way. I could probably sneak him into the middle there, right underneath this guy. Welders, would you do me the favor? Platform, welders on, off. Thank you. Nice. Now, if we take a look at our projector on here, so this projector is part of the ship. I want a blueprint of Dire Welder V3. Nice, there he is. Let's reorient him, though, because right now he's off kilter. So what if we were to horizontal offset a little bit, vertical offset? Let's get him to the right vertical position. That looks about right. -3. He might need to be down one more. Yeah, he's definitely up a little bit too high. Down one more. That looks actually almost perfect. Is that perfect? That looks pretty darn perfect, doesn't it? All right. So if you place a projector in a ship and you align the offset such that the projector projects onto the ship where parts should be, ships can be self-repairing. How cool is this? You ready? So I can just go into my platform, welders on. Ta-da! I just repaired my ship. Haha! How cool is that?
Energy low.
All right. Platform welders off. Thank you. And is everything happy in here now? Look at that, dude. How cool, right? So the projector I can just turn off for the time being, right? And then when I turn him back on, we'd be all right. So it should save all these settings. It should save the blueprint. I might want to turn on keep projection so that Dire Welder V3 is always on. So keep projection means that the projection will remain after we've completed building, right? So what I can do is toggle block off. So let's say that we break something like the camera and this spotlight. Oh, we damaged up, and this light armor block, right? And then we just come in here, we turn our projector on, and you can see it's going to project everything again. And then I've got my platform welders on. Platform welders off, and we're done. Ha! How cool is that, huh? I like it. So the ship self-repairing now. Nice. Obviously, if there were like cargo containers that had stuff in them, that might be a bigger problem, right? If those were destroyed, but they're nice and centered in the middle of the ship, so it's unlikely that they are going to have any kind of problem. And then I can turn the projector off because we really don't need him running anymore. It wouldn't hurt to leave them on, but you probably don't want a whole bunch of ships with projectors running all over the place, right? That's probably true. All right, now that we've got a self-repairing drone, and I might, next time I damage my other drone, I'm gonna stick a little projector in the same spot. Maybe I should add that to my blueprint. That might not be a terrible idea, right? That might not be a terrible idea at all. I wonder if I can... I don't think I can copy a blueprint from a survival world. I think it has to be creative only. Yeah, I can't Control-C that guy. So... yeah, there's no way to update my blueprint. Yeah, create or replace from clipboard. There is no clipboard in survival. All right, maybe I'll update that. It's just one block, so if I don't get around to updating it as a blueprint, maybe at some point in the future I will. Just, you know where it goes. All right, so we've got self-repairing drones, which is cool, which will definitely come in handy when we get into combat later on. Ideally, I'd like to build a large combat ship that doesn't involve pistons and rotors, and if I can do that, then it'll be 100% self-repairing, but we'll have to work on that in the future. For now, let's see, I wouldn't mind, what do we got outside still? We've got refineries, which are doing all right. We've got our guns, obviously. We've got a couple ammo cargo boxes that I use for a couple different things, ore backlog, ice, and ammo. That's fine right there. I like having something out here that I can access my items from. And then obviously, we've got reactors. Reactor room might not be a terrible idea. Let's look at making one of those, I think, because that might be cool. All right, so one of the things I didn't plan too well was how I would have a room here or there. And as a result, I think I've come up with kind of an idea on how I'm gonna fix that issue that I made. I want this to be my reactor room. And as a result, I'm probably gonna have to break through this glass, but I'm not gonna do it right now. But eventually I'm gonna break through that glass and that cargo container so that coming out this way will be a reactor room. The first thing I need to do though to decide exactly how I want this reactor room to look and feel, because there's actually, in vanilla, there's like one reactor, right, that you can have, small or large. And I'd like this to kind of be the same distance as here. So this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 off of here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. So this can come out here. Let's take a look at some of the different reactor types and decide how we want our room to look and feel. So when it comes to reactors, and as you can see I'm in my creative world, you have a couple options. Here's the vanilla reactor. It looks pretty cool. So you'll notice that he's got access points on the front and the back, and I suspect there's one on the top and the bottom as well, so we can pipe uranium in, obviously. Now this guy's capable of generating a max output of 300 megawatts, okay? By comparison, the small reactor that we're currently using on our station, and remember we have 2 of them, I think is 15, right? Yes, so 15, 300. Not bad. So that's obviously huge in terms of a difference, right? It's like 20 times, which is cool. I'm down with that. So 20 small reactors versus 1 big reactor. I'll take it. But there's some other cool ones that we have from the modded world, and they just look neat. And some of them have different functionalities and features, like this one right here, the azimuth reactor. This is a cool, nifty little reactor, and if we go to our control panel on it, we'll see that he has a max output of 558 megawatts. So obviously, a little bit more than that guy. Let's see, he doesn't have access points on the top and bottom, though. It looks like he only has them on the sides, and I'm going to assume that there's not one on the bottom, right? Yeah, I didn't think so. Well, it looks a lot better from that angle. I think he's upside down. Yeah, he was. Nice. Okay. So, definitely a cool looking reactor system. Obviously, they're going to consume fuel, right, at different amounts and speeds and whatnot. So that's one option. The next one we could take a look at is this guy, which is the azimuth fusion reactor. We've seen these because these are the ones that we've used on our small ships. And if we check this, we'll see his control panel. He does about 60 megawatts, right? So he's about the size of a small reactor. He's just 4 times as powerful. Not bad. I want to go with a large one, though. So we could go with the large version of that reactor. Oh, yeah, looking good. Now, the only problem with these guys is they really only have 1 access point as far as I can see. And that's on that one side, which is currently underneath. So if we wanted to pipe fuel into here, you know, obviously we could, but we just have to be vigilant of where we put that reactor point. But like if you imagine a room with these on the walls, like that could be kind of cool looking. Yeah, and walk through and have that kind of stuff, that would be kind of neat. Versus walking through and having something like this on the walls. Nice. So those are all azimuth versions of them. Now, there's another reactor type. I forget, I believe it's power blocks is the mod. This adds some of the mod reactors that we've been looking at already. So there's the medium one, which we've seen in the small ship. Now these are cool because they have a couple things. One, they've got access points here, here, and here. And the other cool part about it is that they look really nice if you line them up properly. Cool. So if you really wanted to be good about it, let's see. It's probably a good way to do this. There we go. Just has to be up against something. There we are, and nice. So this is 4 medium reactors, each of which will generate, I don't know off the top of my head what it is, 45 megawatts, not bad. They also have upgrades in this one, so you'll see that there's reactor upgrades. They just improve the output, I believe. But then there's the heavy version of these, which is obviously much larger, right? And you can kind of do the same thing we were doing before, which is have them look neat like this. And then they would eventually, you know, loop around all 4 corners. And they all share inventory, which is nice. Well, I thought they did. Maybe they don't on the large ones. But if we take a look in the inventory here, we can see 150 megawatts. Not bad. So I think I might want to go with the azimuth ones. I just want to decide if I want this one or this one. I'm leaning more towards something like that. And obviously we can paint them too if we want. So if we wanted it like red and green, that might be cool. Yeah, that looks kind of neat. I don't think you can change the color of the lighting on them. I think they have to be green. Just FYI. Not bad at all though, right? So that's what I think I'm going to go with, the azimuth ones. These are azimuth fusion reactors. I think they look neat, and I think they will look very nice in a reactor room, and I also think that they're going to output a silly amount of power. Yeah. That should be very cool. 1.2 gigawatts. Wow. I guess, did I not check what that output was? Like, this one was like 500 and something, right? Yeah, 558 megawatts. So I guess this reactor is obviously like the king of reactors, right? This guy alone is like 4 times this, right? Yeah, 4 times as powerful. I guess that's a theme, maybe. The azimuth reactors will be about 4 times as powerful as the vanilla ones. But obviously they're going to require more components for building as well. But they just look so cool. Okay, so let's come back into our survival world and plan out where the room's going to be. And then we'll come back. Alright guys, so here's a rough layout of what the room will look like. Now we'll need conveyor ports here and here. Now I'm not going to have all 4 reactors up, by the way. I just wanted them laid out so that when I eventually, if I eventually ever need 4 of these reactors, like right now we're going to have what's essentially a ridiculous level of power output from just one of these. But you know what? As we expand, believe it or not, we might be able to use up some of this power. Especially when we look at like the shield mod, if we want to add like a shield room to really protect ourselves against some of these raids that are going to be coming here. We're going to need a decent amount of shielding, which is going to require a decent amount of power, right? So we should basically consider what that's all about. So I'm gonna get some more of you guys. I can put these things away. And I don't need an automatic rifle or a drill. That's from when I died at some point in the past. So yeah, how about we wrap up the episode here. Hope you guys enjoyed checking out the auto-repairing drones, the expansion of the base. I'm going to do a lot of this building off camera, because that's typically what I like to do with my building systems. And when we come back next time, I'm going to work on, I'm thinking I'm going to use the 3x3 door. that we saw. That might be a cool way to get into this room. And we'll see. There's a couple things I have in mind for how to make this room look and function very cool. But like I said, we'll need tubes into the walls and stuff. Not crazy about that. I usually like to have my tubes under the station, but maybe the reactor room, I'll make like an exception. So this is basically what the room will look like. It'll have a ceiling, of course. I don't want windows in this room. I feel like I've done a lot of windows lately. Yeah, this will look nice, right? And I'll walk in here and I'll just see these giant reactors powering the base. And there'll be tubes going along the back conveyor area. That'll look really neat. Yeah, like a tube going right in there and another one going right in there. Yeah, I like everything about it. All right, like I said, wrapping up point for the episode, guys. Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're enjoying the whole Space Engineers series, of course. Next episode, I'll get this room together. Hopefully, I've got the resources to weld one of these reactors. I assume it's going to be a lot, right? Let's see. 2,750 steel plates in addition to the initial 150, 120 motors, 5,600 reactor components. I might be rethinking this because that's a lot of reactor components. I did not look at that. What's a large reactor use, by the way? Just for my own knowledge, that uses 2,000. Right. Okay. Good to know. What if I wanted one of the smaller ones? These guys. This uses 2,500 reactor components. So maybe I'll go with one of these first. I mean, we could always start with one of those because we don't need a 1.20 gigawatts. If only it was 1.21, then I'd feel a lot better about using them. But we'll see. Maybe we'll start off without these. We'll use these.
Energy low.
I'm sure my energy's low. So if I did use this, it would want to be on its side then, right? So it would be something like, you know what, you need to be there. That might not be terrible. It juts into the room a little bit more. That's okay. I mean, I could just walk in through the center here. That's kind of neat looking, right? These, by the way, don't have construction stages, it looks like. That's one of the options with mods. Like, they may not have construction stages built, or maybe it does and I'm just not seeing it. And it might. Okay. Like I said, I'll debate between this episode and next if I feel like crafting 2,500 reactor components or 5,000. Because it definitely looks cooler. I like the look of the other one, but we'll see. All right, wrapping up point for real, maybe, perhaps. Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Take it easy, guys.